Every May, the energy in my hometown of Louisville becomes electric. Hundreds of thousands of people flock here for the world famous Kentucky Derby, and while nearly every hand holds an icy mint julep, very few people know the tall tale behind its masterminds. The world's largest bottle of booze water tower you can literally see from 2 miles down the road. Standing at over 62 feet tall and over 20 foot wide, this water tower and its support structures are the height of about a 6-story building. Now, in November of 1936, 40 other locals stood right here, just where I'm at, because Brown-Forman themselves hired Benny and Betty Fox, a young married couple known for going clear across the country, dancing on different skyscrapers all around. Brown-Forman hired them to come dance on top of the world's largest bottle of booze. Fun fact, the top of the cork here is only about 5 feet wide. However, it is built at a slant, which means that when Betty and Benny climbed up there, they discovered they only had about 2 feet of space to dance on. I don't know about you, but I fall going up the stairs, so I could never. That is about 218 feet above the ground that Benny and his wife Betty climbed to do this dance without safety harnesses and without nets. It was in fact labeled as a death-defying performance. So they were literally driving all across the country. And they come here, they practice for about 2 weeks beforehand, and then on a Wednesday, some Wednesday, I don't know what Wednesday, in November of 1936, Benny actually performed a dance that he named Bottoms Up in celebration of the event that was going on here. And he performed that 6 different times throughout the day. Now, Brown-Forman actually hired Louisville Water Tank Company, the Caldwell Tank Company, to build the world's largest bottle of booze water tower for them. Now, you may not be familiar with the Caldwell Tank Company here in town, but you may be familiar with some of their work. Just like Benny and Betty Fox had to drive to Louisville, a lot of people were driving. Around that time is when Route 66 began, people. And in fact, Caldwell Tank built the world's largest ketchup bottle that also holds 100,000 gallons of water. It stands 170 feet tall and is a Route 66 staple sighting in Illinois. They also build UPS Worldport's jet fuel tanks here in Louisville too. They are massive. They have also built the Mickey Mouse Water Tower out in Burbank, California at the Walt Disney World Studios. And that tank actually won them the Tank of the Year award in the year I was born, 1987. Fun fact, they also built the world's largest baseball bat. Now, the interesting thing about this bat is that it's not a water tower. Even though it was built by the Caldwell Tank Company, it's not a water tower. However, it does enclose the plumbing to the Louisville Sluggers bathrooms in the basement. Post Courtney here, I don't know what happened. My microphone was either muted or too loud, and I had to unfortunately delete a lot of clips. But I did want to come on here and say a huge shout out to Tim at the Brown-Forman Distillery for sending me some of what they had in their archives, not only about the Bottoms Up campaign back in 1936, but also the impact that the 1937 flood had on the company. So Brown-Forman did have to move their distillery from downtown to the Highlands to escape the flood. But something that a lot of people don't know, when you were sipping your mint julep, this is just a fun little fact, I think. And the reason why I wanted to do this was the flood was just massive. Massive. I mean, I think it crested at 52 feet downtown. Don't quote me, but I think that's what I saw when I was doing my research. And apparently, Brown-Forman and other local distilleries donated empty whiskey barrels to help the city build a pontoon bridge across the river. So I just thought that was really cool and a nice thing about, you know, just a good example of community coming together and using your resources. I just think that was awesome. So next time you're sipping your mint julep or any kind of bourbon, it's just a nice little thought to think. So I am just learning all kinds of things today. Even as I'm out exploring, I'm learning new things. I am currently sitting in front of a sandstone jail. What? Shepherdsville, Kentucky, at the courthouse. This is the original sandstone that it was made out of. 22-inch thick sandstone bricks compile this massive 22 by 22 structure that holds some cells and a hallway, according to what I read online. This is wild. I'm presuming this is the backside here, but it was built in 1891 and closed in 1947. And according to the source I read online, it did say some escapes do happen. Look at this. Talk about 22 inches. You can see how deep it goes back. Let's go in. Look at this. Big old stuff. So here's the hallway. The door. Oh, it's a heavy door. Bruh. For real? I couldn't go to jail here. I don't even hardly fit through the door. Oh my gosh, look at the beds. No lights, no electricity, no heat, no air. Only the stove. Okay, so a total of 4 cells in that little hallway. Here in this almost castle-like sandstone structure. Let's take a look. Take a look. Here's my hand on the sandstone. That's crazy. That is so cool. So there's a whole museum in here. I told you guys, I keep learning today. This is fun. They have artifacts from the Jim Beam distillery, which we're not doing Jim Beam. We're doing Brown Foreman. But let me know if you want me to do Jim Beam one day. There's a picture of the old-timey factory. Shepherdsville, Kentucky. This is interesting. So here is a photo of Shepherdsville flood. This all is from the Salt River that the Ohio pushed through here. And this is what the town looked like in the early 1930s during the flood. Here is a photo from the 40s. Look at the old cars. This would have been the time frame that stone jail closed. And then this here is from a store circa the 1870s through 1900. So this would have been the time frame when that jail outside was active. Look at how old. Like, that's amazing. Okay, so we are now at the front of the building. And here in the door frame is the plaque. Do not destroy high water, 1937. So just as reference, I am 5'6". The plaque is right there in the door. Very cool. Look at this beautiful staircase. Wow. And look over here. A Bullitt County history display room. A baby crib circa 1877. 1960 pink dress. Aw, that is adorable. Oh, look at this. Pitts Point phone switchboard circa 1898. I've always wanted to do this. Hello, Mortimer. How you doing? Let me get you over to Dorothy. Hold on. I don't know why I was an old boss tonight. Oh, it's a telephone pole. Telephone pole. Nothing's changed. Still got all the nails in it. What is this? Original 1915 silent movie projector used in the Shepherd Theater. It was hand cranked and used a something electric lamp, much like the bright light from the electric welder. Wow! No freaking way! That's some old phone and radio equipment. An old GE fan. Look at that. An old desk with letters. Radio announcement about Pearl Harbor, December 7th, 1941. Wow. Now here behind me in Shepherdsville, Kentucky is the Salt River. The Salt River actually connects to the Ohio River in downtown Louisville, which means that back in January 1937, the Ohio rose so far that it ended up pushing the Salt River back. So essentially what happened is that the Great Flood of 1937 also caused the Great Flood here in Shepherdsville as well with the Salt River. We're now here in West Point, Kentucky at the Ohio River. And there's something really special here I wanted to show you guys. This is where I like to come and watch the barges go down the river. But come over here. There is a Great Flood plaque with some measurements I want to show. Now here, the plaque says that it went up to 30 feet. And it shows you all the way up this pole, 1937. These were the other floods that happened. So this is where the plaque comes up to me. Now remember, I'm 5'6". And then just another example, that was only 30 feet. It was recorded 50 feet, 52 feet, something like that. Crazy, 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 crazy. I gotta go pick up my son. Thanks for spending the day with me. Make sure to like this video and subscribe, and then leave in the comments if you enjoyed this and would like me to do a little bit more history, a little more field trips. Thanks for watching. Toodles.